Dragonflight, the newest expansion to World of Warcraft. When I made my video why I quit WoW, I wouldn't have imagined that I would actually be excited for Dragonflight. But when I finally logged in to WoW and played in the pre-patch, it felt much more like the WoW I used to play. I logged in and saw the entire UI has changed and most of my add-ons weren't needed anymore. I didn't need to update Bagon or Bartender because the new UI lets me put the action boards where I like them to be, and you cannot imagine the kind of joy I felt when I could toggle on an option and quickly keybind those action bars. And some say that this is annoying and unnecessary, but personally, after playing WoW since the Cataclysm, this is truly a welcome change. Less add-ons makes a better game for me personally. But then let's get to one of the biggest changes since MoB. The talent tree system is back. Holy shit, I'm going to chill like Taliesin, but this change is out of everything in Dragonflight is my most favorite change. The fact that there is way more choices of the way I can play the game and that I don't need to buy a new legendary or change covenants to play in a different way is such an awesome feeling. Literally, while playing the second week of Dragonflight pre-patch, I changed my talents so many times because I found some talents much more likable than others. And of course I found a cookie cutter VE build which does the most damage.
That's a lot of damage!
But the fact that I can change and choose so many different builds, it is insane. It brings back the memories when back in the Cataclysm I constantly looked at the talent tree and tried to figure out if there is a better or more interesting build. Also the fact that you don't need some tomes or be in the city to change them is also great. No longer will I need to ask in a raid for a tome to change my talents mid-raid. When I logged in and put on the starter build, I quickly changed some talents which I wasn't going to use into other which I do use. And the fact that I don't need to choose between two separate abilities is incredible. Like for example, if you were going to mainly single target damage in a raid, you wouldn't pick Hailstorm or Fire Nova, but you would pick Elemental Assault. And the fact that two AoEs were combined with one single DPS talent is insane. Because before I was forced into a build and some talents were not changed throughout the entirety of Shadowlands. For example, Sundering. Also, it is very nice that we can still catch up with all the content from the Shadowlands in the pre-patch and get all the mounts we want. Literally, if you couldn't be asked to play Shadowlands, right now would be a perfect time to come back and experience the endgame because all the raids are viable to get loot from. Also, if you want to level alts, it is an incredible time, with a 50% XP buff and the 18 years celebration XP buff. It is a super fast time to level all the alts and prepare for Dragonflight. And yes, in the first 3 weeks, the Drag tier race was not playable and the Primal Storms event only starts on November 15. But the first 3 weeks were a good time to test out that new talent system and play Shadowlands while it is at its finest and easiest to access. But Phase 2 started on November 15 and I instantly logged in. I played the pre-patch storyline and oh boy, was it a wonder. The pre-launch cinematic was epic, the intro quest was epic, and the in-game cinematics were fucking epic.
This is epic.
God, I cannot stop fangirling about these cinematics. Blizzard, as always, manages to make us suck up all the freaking copium with their fucking cinematics. The WRATHION warning cinematic was beyond excellent, setting the pace of the story and the feel. Heck, the launch cinematic has such an amazing feel. Literally, seeing a troll and a dwarf flying on drakes, both of them just flying around and experiencing the Dragon Isles, gave me the same feeling as the MoB cinematic, a new land to discover and explore, and adventures to be had. Camaraderie and kinsmanship. Goddamn, when Alexstrasza came out of the clouds, I couldn't hold it on anymore and cheered. The end was beautiful with all three of them emerging from the clouds and seeing a massive flock of dragons flying. And I felt the same about all the cinematics, in-game high poly model cinematics and legacy animated series. But one thing bothered me. Where the fuck are all those better in-game cinematics? And what do I mean by that? In the game there are two types of in-game cinematics. One is very poorly made and made with animations that are already in the game, much like the Garrosh end cinematic from Sanctum of Domination and many more. It is probably the easiest to make and requires very little effort, but also with that they suffer a lot. Lip-syncing problems, janky emotions, and they do not express emotions of the characters. The other one is much better. For example, Sylvanas Judgment cinematic at the end of Shadowlands, and Anduin and Sylvanas cinematic. Those are much better. You can actually feel the emotions of the characters and their lips and words are actually in sync. And of course they do require more time, but goddamn, they are much better than these old janky in-game cinematics, and also they require much less work than those well-made cinematics like the Khadgar and Kelagos cinematic. If Blizzard is scaling down just to make more janky cinematics, I see this as a big loss for us. Let's hope that in Dragonflight proper, most cinematics, or at least the emotionally important ones, will be made with better in-game cinematics. Okay, now to the Dragfear. I'ma be honest, I didn't like Dragfears that much. I'm sorry, but I'm a melee person. Most of my max characters are just melee characters. Casting to me just doesn't seem right, but nonetheless, I tried it out. The story and the Forgotten Reach was a great experience. Soaring around, testing out the new dragon flying feature was pretty sweet. But before testing out the soaring feature out, I was like, holy shit, this is the best thing ever! But after testing soar out, I was like, it's cool. Like, if it was 900% flying like it was in the alpha, maybe then I would shoot myself out of excitement, but right now, it is just alright. It is much more enjoyable and interactive than normal flying, but it isn't anything groundbreaking, it's just a nice touch. Now to the pre-patch world event, Primal Storms. It's It's nothing special, to be honest, it is quite boring. Just some invasions pop up, you kill some mobs, get some loot, which isn't even that great. And that's it. Yeah, you do get a pet and you're able to gear up all of your alts quicker, but it isn't so special. One good thing is that you aren't forced to do them. Like literally, if you want to get everything from the pre-patch, all you need is a day. And you will get a heirloom trinket, which is literally the only real reward if you are already fully geared. Conclusion. The pre-patch was quite interesting. Yes, it was quite small and the event was nothing special, but the fact that you could do all the Shadowlands raids and Mythic Plus and get good loot was a welcome. It was a nice experiment and quite a successful one for Blizzard to test out how they should end an expansion. So here's my rating for the pre-patch. The story, 9 out of 10. The story got me high for Dragonflight. All the cinematics and the dialogue got me interested in the story once again. It felt more Warcraft than the last two expansions combined. There is no overarching great evil trying to be Thanos-like level. It is just a new land to experience and new enemies to defeat. You aren't some messiah who is going to save the universe, but rather you are just an explorer, and I got to say, I like that. The features, 9 out of 10. I know this is quite a high rating, but hear me out. The talent and profession rework is more groundbreaking than any Torghast or Warfronts. They actually changed the game and removed systems that overstayed their welcome. And the fact that Soar and Dragon Flying is an overhaul of the mounts and WoW is also great. This is changing things that matter and improving them, rather than adding onto a game that is already full of stuff. The pre-patch event, 3.5 out of 10. It is literally meh. I don't even think Blizz tried to make this event good, but rather focus more on the Dragonflight itself. If the expansion itself will build it, then I don't give a single shit that the event sucked. Because if the event is shit, at least I can prepare for the Dragonflight and level up my alts. Or do any other stuff before Dragonflight launches. Overall, I rate the pre-patch a strong 7 or even an 8. This is a nice transition from Shadowlands to New Frontiers. So tell me in the comments, what are your opinions on the Dragonflight pre-patch? I always read the comments and like seeing what you guys think. Anyways, like the video, blah blah blah, subscribe, blah blah blah. Until the next time, see ya!